B-A-T-C-H-I-N-P-I-P-S. I've been B-A-T-C-H-I-N-P-I-P-S. I've been.
Hey, it's your man Charlie P. This is from my Omega Trade strategy. So if you haven't seen that strategy video, check it out. But you know how I feel. Anybody can show you a strategy, back testing it. We doing it real time. Can they show it to you in a real time situation? So you know it's real. You know what I mean? Now I will say this this setup that I took, it's ugly. Like compared to what I showed in my strategy video, it's an ugly setup, but they can't all be pretty. All right, so we're looking at gold, and gold looks real Omega Trade-ish right now, because if you've seen my Omega Trade strategy video, then you know rule number 1 says that price has to be kind of consolidated between the 50 and the 144 moving averages, which price is pretty much hovering around that area right now. It's not necessarily between it, but this formation right here, this whole cluster of candles is pretty much moving between the 50 and 144. And it has to be either oversold or overbought at some point during that formation. And we have that down here. Price is very clearly oversold because it's under our 10 level down here with the Ehlers Fisher. So rule number 1 is met. Next thing we would have to do for rule number 2 is find the last prominent wick within the formation. The way to find where the last prominent wick is you kind of want to go off of the candle bodies more so than the wicks initially. So where's the last prominent hump or the last prominent, like if you were drawing a W or something like that, you would be coming down and you would come up, bang, it kind of peaks right here a little bit and then it drops down. So initially, let me get this box out the way right quick. Initially, I'm going to say the top of this candle or the top of this wick, that's going to be my last prominent wick so far. As I keep coming down, okay, we got down, it comes up, and then it comes down from there. So since it's coming, we've got a little hump right here on the candle bodies. So it stops here and then starts going down. I'm going to adjust that and say, now this is my last prominent one. So I'm going to pick the top of this wick because that's where the last little hump was, so to speak. And so it comes down, it comes up, and now we've got this candle body. I'm just zooming in right quick. This candle right here, the body of this candle closed past that wick. And that's what we're looking for, is we need a candle body to close past the last prominent wick in the formation. That's rule number 2. And so that's been met. Now all we have to do is look for an entry point because we have a confirmed move to the upside or a confirmed buy. So I'm going to go down to the 15-minute chart now that rule number 1 and 2 is met, which again, just to recap, rule number 1 is price has to be consolidated between the 50 and the 144 EMAs while being oversold or overbought, which it is oversold in this case. Then rule number 2 is a candle body has to close past the last prominent wick in the formation. So rule number 2 was we found the last prominent wick, which is right here, and we drew a line there. And then we see a candle body, which is this candle right here, has closed past that. And this is on H1. Everything I've said is on the 1-hour chart so far. After that's done, all we have to do is look for an entry. So we go down to the 15-minute chart and we wait on price to come back and grab the 50 EMA on the 15-minute chart. And the gold line is our 50 EMA. So once price comes down and grabs our gold line right here, or pretty much touches it, so to speak, then we can enter a buy. So that's what we're going to do. And we'll come back when when price gets down there. Okay, so price is just about to touch the gold line or the 50 EMA. Shimon now. There we go. So let's go ahead and there we go. Let's go ahead and enter the trade. We'll put a stop loss about right here and we'll come back and talk about it. I'm actually going to go ahead and put one more entry in because it came down low enough, you know, under the gold. So no biggie. not scaring us. We just take another entry because they gave us a better one. All right, so I'm back. Had to go get me something to eat right quick because your boy was hungry. But let us find a take profit point. Let me go out to the 4-hour chart. I just like to go out and zoom out on the 4-hour chart when I go look for a take profit point. So it looks like we may have a head and shoulders pattern forming on this H4 chart. So what may end up happening is price is just going to kind of come up here and make a second shoulder, like a double top. So like boom, boom. So I'm going to just put my take profit point somewhere in this zone. Okay, let's just put it at the top of this here. So we'll drag these up and just put it right at the top of that, which will give us approximately 215 pips. So we will come back and see how this trade develops. Yep, so we are up, we were up 95 pips on that entry, 100 pips on that entry. So we'll just average it out and say we was up about 97 pips. Let's go ahead and adjust our stop loss into profit. I'm actually going to put both of them above the top entry. So now we're at a risk-free trade. No way. Well, I ain't gonna say no way. The market can go completely crazy and gap down below here, I guess, but 99.9% sure there's no way we can lose money on this trade at this point. I'm gonna let this ride out and we will come back and hopefully be about to watch our take profit get hit. All right, just checking back in one more time. Price is still going up for us, so we're looking real good. So far, I mean, we got 89 pips left to hit our target. Being that Christmas is coming up, I'm tempted to just take this money because I don't know really what's going to happen, tomorrow and Thursday. Thursday is tomorrow. Tomorrow and Friday. With Christmas around the corner, I'm sure Christmas Eve is probably going to be extra slow in the market. So I don't know, maybe tomorrow might be a normal day. So I'm struggling to hang in there right now. I want to just take this money because, I mean, we got 100 and something pips in profit right now. I mean, we're up 123 pips on that one, 129 on this one. So the pippage is on point. We good on that. I can take profit right now and not be ashamed. You know what I mean? But one thing I do want to do real quick is go over how to spot the last prominent wick. So talking about rule number 2, because that's very important for you to know how to do, is how do we spot the last prominent wick? I know I went over it just a little bit earlier in this video and then in the training video, but let's just take a look at a couple more examples. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so it'll be a little bit easier to tell. So this isn't an Omega setup, what I'm about to show you. I'm simply just going over in general what I would look for to spot the last prominent wick. So let's look at this cluster of candles right here. When I'm looking for the last prominent wick, like I said, the first thing I'm going to do is kind of focus on the bodies of the candles. And I'm looking kind of like, where does the body of the candle come to? Where do they come to a point, so to speak? So where do they make kind of a V shape, like kind of do like this? Like where's this point? And so that I would consider to be somewhat of a V shape. And it doesn't have to be a VV, like a super a pointy point. You know what I mean? They gotta be extra pointy. But just where did the candles kind of make, there I go grabbing the wrong tools again. Where does the candle make where do the candles make somewhat of a point? So these right here are 2 areas where I would say these are kind of points in the market. So let me delete that and let's zoom back in to where we just were. And so being that those are points, so this one happened first. So I'm going to say, where's the wick that points out the most right there? I would say it's the top of this candle. So I would draw my line right there, because let's just pretend this stuff over here hasn't happened yet. That's where I would have my point drawn. But once the market comes down and it comes up, it doesn't, there's no body that closes past this wick. So it makes this point and then it drops down further. Well, now we have a new point. It's almost the same, but it's barely, barely lower. So I'm just going to drop it down just a notch. And this is my new last prominent wick. And then of course this candle body closes past that. But again, this is an Omega setup. So I'm just saying if it was, that's what how I would be looking at it. Let's come over here and look at this right here, this cluster of candles. So this is something where, again, I'm just kind of looking, where do my points happen? So here's something I would say the market the candle bodies kind of make somewhat of a, like a V, or, before we were looking at upside down V's, but here we've got right side up V's. So like this would be one. So I would put a line, at the bottom of this wick. Then this comes up. It actually, you know what, being that this is this actually went over this trade, in my, killer crossover strategy video. So definitely check that out. But in this one, since I'm gonna show you really what I would do on this one, because I have to wait on the crossover to happen first. So until the crossover happens on my MAs, I'm not looking at no last prominent wick. So I'm not looking till we get over here in this area after the crossover has happened. So market came down, boom, shot back up. So this would be kind of a V shape. So I'm gonna put my line right here, because the bottom of this wick, I would say, was the last prominent wick. So I'm looking for something to pass this, like a candle body to pass this. Well, when it comes up and then it comes down here, back up, well, that's kind of another V shape that I can look at, and I can say, you know what, that's a good enough V for me to say, I can adjust my line and say, well, now this is the last prominent wick. Either of these kind of is cool in this point, but I would really kind of go for this one at this point. So this would be my last prominent wick. Then this candle body closes past that, and then we take the trade a certain way based on the the strategy. But since that's not, we're not talking about the killer crossover strategy on this one. This is the Omega strategy. But again, I just wanted to go over real quick how to spot the last prominent wick, just to give a little bit more insight on how I look for that. So hopefully that helps. And we will, boy, I'm trying so hard not to take this profit right now, y'all, because I could be done for the week. But anyway, we'll come back and hopefully, it probably ain't gonna happen until tomorrow, if it's gonna happen, but we'll hang in there and just see what happens. You know what? I ain't that disciplined yet. I'm sorry. You can't go broke taking profit though. That's something that I want y'all to keep in mind and learn. You can't go broke taking profit. Yeah, I probably could have went ahead and caught the last, whatever, I had my take profit sitting up here. We was close enough. I mean, I caught 100 and something pips, man. Like what was it? 100 and probably like 130 pips is about what we caught. So yeah, I got out the trade prematurely, but if I can go without holding the trade into the next day, then I'm gonna do that. But in this situation, man, it's mainly because Christmas is right around the corner, and I just feel like the market is going to be real tricky tomorrow and probably do something stupid. But yeah, you can't go broke taking profit. So don't be ashamed about taking profit. But I do feel a little bit ashamed anyway, just because I feel like I should have stayed disciplined enough to show y'all, just stay in the trade. Because a lot of times people do get out of trades prematurely all the time, and it hinders them from, making amounts of money that they, it's like they just leaving money on the table type thing. But in this case, I think price is probably going to end up dropping down here anyway, and it may give me another entry point. So That's more so the real reason I went ahead and said forget it, I'll just get out, because it's probably going to give me a good 50, 60, 70 pip drop or retrace, and we can get back in somewhere down here some kind of way. So anyway, all right, y'all.